Broadcasting furry truth and hot takes from a small comics box in secret. This is Furry Frequencies, your favorite furries at the highest frequency. Hello again, and welcome to another exciting week with your favorite podcasters. That's right. That's me, Lifty, and your favorite pal, Silox.
Hey, how's it going?
On this episode of Furry Frequencies. So on tonight's episode, we've got a really great one. We're going to be talking about Twitter and nothing but Twitter, because last week they made a big announcement, and they rolled out with a brand new feature. Well, actually, they didn't roll out with it yet. It's still in beta. But they announced that it might be coming soon. And when the announcement was made, it just kind of lit up Twitter on fire with all kinds of takes here and there. And of course, Furry Twitter was just Furry Twitter was also talking about it. So we're going to be talking about it this week. And we also invite you to join the conversation on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at Furry Frequency. Again, that's at Furry Frequency on Twitter. That's where you can find the tweets regarding our episodes. You can find new updates about our show, random shenanigans and stuff that we like to retweet, et cetera, et cetera. So again, join us today on Twitter at Furry Frequency. So with that said, let's begin. So last month, I can't believe that I can't believe we're in March already. Can we take a minute? Can we take a minute to just acknowledge that? Yeah, we're in March already. We're in March. I mean, February was like a blink. It came and went too soon. And right now we're in March. So in late February, just to set the scene, Twitter made a big announcement to the media about a brand new feature that they are currently testing in beta with a few users. And it's a way to generate revenue for the site that they have been plotting and planning about for a while now. And that feature is called Super Follows. So basically what it is that for a fee per month, charged in a subscription style to followers that want to pay for it, followers can access exclusive tweets that only they can view and respond to because they are the ones who are paying for it. And it's very much like Patreon or OnlyFans on Twitter, where for a subscription fee, you're basically paying for more content from your accounts. And
pretty much.
Silox, let's go ahead and start with your take. What's your take on this?
I think this is a dumb idea. I think Twitter is doing this for two reasons. The first and obvious one is Twitter would like a revenue stream. Now, for those of you who don't know, Twitter, like Facebook, doesn't have a traditional revenue stream. They have to rely on ads to generate revenue. However, ads can only do so much. And so this, to me, is Twitter's way of saying, all right, let's have a revenue stream, but let's test it out before we roll it out site-wide on a much bigger level. And that is taking the form of super followers, where you are paying someone to see what they tweet. And to me, and I've talked to Lifty about this, to me, this is just a test run for something bigger, to where they say, okay, Twitter will be switching to a subscription-based service. And which I think they're going to have to do for a variety of reasons. Not only just because they need to pay their bills, but also because if Twitter is smart and wants to be around going forward and not draw the ire of the U.S. government, they will do that and then attempt to clean up the people who are on that site. And I think super followers is a way that they're going to be doing that. It's sort of the test run for when they eventually switch to a pay to tweet model down the line.
So you say that, and I want to just rewind a little bit to your comparison between Twitter and Facebook. Now, you're right on Twitter requiring ads and promoted tweets to actually generate revenue and pay for the service that is Twitter. And Facebook actually has more revenue sources than just ads. They have a service called Facebook Messenger. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what Facebook Messenger is. If you have a Facebook account, you know what Messenger is. If you don't have a Facebook account, you know what Messenger is, because they spam their stupid ad video at the end of every YouTube video you watch on YouTube.
Yeah, they do.
One.
It's really
annoying. See it at the very end. And I'm like, no, Facebook Messenger, I already know you exist and I don't care. All I want to do is just listen to my song again. Go the fuck away. So let's talk a little bit about Facebook Messenger a little bit, because since it launched, it's become very innovative for advertisers to use this service. And since it launched, companies have actually jumped on Facebook Messenger and have tried to utilize it as an ad and marketing tool that's way better, way better than most of what came before it. I mean, before you had like email marketing, you had traditional ads, etc. Nowadays, you can actually send directed messages to your Facebook followers on Facebook via Messenger. You can contact your customers via Messenger. I mean, this is so much more advanced than what was, considered to be cutting edge before Messenger. And I'm actually surprised that Twitter has not done something similar, because I think if they were looking at revenue streams, they should be looking at Facebook Messenger and say, hey, how do we get a slice of that pie? I mean, it's working in spades for Facebook. They're raking in, they're making hand over fist amount of money from Facebook Messenger, and it's only growing from there. I mean, the amount of people using Facebook Messenger. Hold on, I had the number. Let me see. Facebook revenue. Facebook Messenger revenue. Terms of revenue generated per month between 2019 and December 2020 by Facebook Messenger. The highest amount was reached in January 2019 with about 12.4 thousand US dollars. That's per month. 12.4 thousand US dollars per month generated on Facebook Messenger. That's incredible.
That is incredible. That's a nice number. And
that's a very good number.
When Facebook sees that number, they're doing cart flips, because that's what they want to see.
Yeah.
And because they can see that number, they don't have to charge people a subscription fee to send out Facebook messages.
Yeah.
Now,
that's a pretty healthy number. But also note that Facebook Messenger now has over 1 billion with a B users. So, I mean, when you put it in that perspective, the revenues, it's not like hand over fist kinds of money, but it's auxiliary revenue that they otherwise wouldn't receive.
Yeah.
Had Facebook Messenger didn't exist, they wouldn't have all that money. They wouldn't have $12,000 coming in per month.
They would.
Yeah.
So, as I was saying, though, super followers, this is, I'm telling you, this is a test run for what Jack wants to do to Twitter. They want to go to a subscription-based model to make money. I mean, they're going to have to if they want to survive, and also if they want to clean up the site and be around.
But here's my thing.
A pilot program.
Here's my thing. So I was curious about the sentiment of Facebook, or excuse me, about Twitter's super follow feature. And I just asked on my own personal Twitter at Lifty Husky, I asked, how do you feel about Twitter's super follow feature? And we retweeted this survey on our actual podcast Twitter at Furry Frequency. And 38.5% of respondents said they had no opinion. They had no opinion of super follows. That's fine. But here's the big thing here. Here's the big kicker. 56.4% of respondents said that they oppose it. Only 5.1% of respondents actually supported it. 5.1. You know what I want to do with these 5.1%? I want to find who you are, and I want to bring you on the show. I want to talk to you about super follows. I want to see what you think of it and what of it appeals to you, because the vast majority of tweets that I've been seeing about super follows on Twitter has been the same exact thing. Nobody's gonna be paying to read your damn tweets.
Well, hold up now. There's a market for those who will take advantage of that, and it's those who are sure they're going to make some kind of profit off of people who want to read their tweets, and it'll usually be those with a high count, with an account that has a high amount of followers, people who have ADs or artists. If we're strictly talking about the fandom, those people are going to benefit from that. You and me, not really. I don't think anyone wants to read my awkward tweets. No one wants to, and pay money to do that.
Wait, well, hold on a minute. You told me before the show that you were going to start a super follow account.
Yeah, I did. Yes.
Hold on, that you were going to post feet pictures.
I never said that.
Yeah, you did. You told me that. You told me that.
I said paw pictures. Get it correct. And
the same thing. They serve the same purpose.
No, they're
anyway,
different.
guys. When this goes live, follow at Super Solid for the best feet pictures and the best paw content on the internet. That's at Super Silox. See, I did the shilling for you.
It's not a real AD, so they're going to follow somebody else.
It's coming soon.
Some 80-year-old grandma.
It's coming soon.
Really. No, my point is I would never use that, okay? Now, maybe in the future, when I saw how this played out, I'd use it. But for now, I wouldn't use it. But to an artist like, say, who's a big artist, Now and Later. I don't know if they have a Twitter or not. Let's say Now and Later. If they wanted to use a super follow,
Miles DF.
Oh boy. Okay, Miles DF.
Like as if they're not making enough money. As if they're not making enough money on Patreon, they got to go to the Twitter super follows to make more.
If Miles wanted to do that, he could make money off of that because there is enough of an interest, a follower base, and he performs a service in the fandom that people generally want to use, and that's fine. But
again, we got to address something here, because you said Miles DF. Well, you said artists. Do you really think that artists will want to put their work, even like a little? Do you really think that they want to put their entire gallery of work,
yes,
behind a paywall?
They already do. Some already do. It's called Patreon. Yes.
Well, yes. But most artists that I follow, despite having a Patreon, still produce a mix of paid and free photos.
But
like
also,
they post some stuff on their Twitter for free, and that's fine. And that entices people to follow their Twitter account, and then they start teasing you with, hey, for $5 a month, how about you follow me on Patreon, and then you'll see this, and that gets their foot in the door of their Patreon.
So I don't think most are going to post their entire gallery, their entire gallery on Twitter. I don't think that's feasible because, one, Twitter is horrible for posting and hosting art to begin with. But I do think that for a lot of people, it will replace Patreon and other sites where you share art and people subscribe to it to see it. I do think it will replace that, because unlike Patreon, Twitter has such a large user engagement base, not just with the furry fandom, but other fandoms as well, and even normies. So by doing that, you have a broader reach, and you can make money off of it. A lot of these artists are already working for tips on the dollar as is. If they can make an extra amount of money by doing that, as well as broadening their base of interest, then I think it is worth it for any artist to consider it. So,
But
yeah,
I have to rebut with 7 little words, because
what's
this has
that?
been the sentiment all over Twitter about this. There's even been a little hashtag about this too. Those 7 words are, "You think I'm paying for this shit?"
Yes, there people will pay for it. People will pay
What?
for it.
What
Here's how.
people? What
Oh,
people? You've been having
suspiciously wealthy furries.
you mean suspiciously wealthy simps.
Okay,
Suspiciously wealthy simps. That's
if
who.
OnlyFans has taught us anything, it's that people will still pay for porn. Okay? People will still pay for porn. They're still going to pay for art. To either consume it or to commission it. Okay? People are still going to do that. Even as art and porn are free, people still pay to see it. And I'm not even talking about the niche fetish shit. I'm talking about, like, two people having sex. Like, people will pay money to see that on OnlyFans. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, if people will pay money to see something they can otherwise watch free on, like, Pornhub or XTube, why wouldn't they also pay money to see someone tweet out a work in progress picture, or some personal art from an artist that they really like? Think about that.
Oh yeah. And I'm not saying that artists won't actually take advantage of this feature. They probably will. I'm just saying they're not going to put their entire gallery up on behind the paywall.
Mhm.
They'll have free stuff. They'll still tweet for free.
Yeah.
I'm looking at all of the creators. I'm talking to all of the Twitter users that think that they can cash in just to tweet words, just to just to tweet words. Just the people that just tweet words.
I mean, some will get away with that. I mean, if you are one of those furries who have a high enough following and you aren't producing AD content, or you aren't an artist or any other kind of musician or a writer, you can get away with doing that. And you know the accounts I'm talking about. Those who are basically fursuiters. You know those people who have seemingly high follower accounts for one reason or another. And I'm not talking about those who produce stuff on YouTube. I mean, they just fursuit and they have high follower counts. I mean, I won't name them, but I'm sure you know of some. They could do that, and they'd probably have people who would pay to
I'm
see
sure
those.
that that the first thing that would go to a paywall or behind a paywall, if this were to be fully implemented, would be the ADs. All the ADs would just jump on this and say, "Hey, you want to see my dick? You want to see my ass? You want to see my balls? $4.99 a month. Get all the ass, dicks, and balls you want for one low price." It's like a buffet of dick or a buffet of porn.
Or better yet, for those of us who aren't into ADs, but we still want to take pictures or suggestive pictures, you put those behind a paywall. Like, if I were to, like, put my stockings on and my skirt that I may or may not have and take suggestive pictures in them, I obviously wouldn't post them on my main because I don't want minors to see them. But if I could put them behind a paywall, since they aren't lewd, but they also shouldn't be seen by the general public. If I could put them behind a paywall, I would do that. I can make a little money off of that as well for my hard-earned time. I could see people doing that. But I don't think someone like Joe Schmo over there, who only has 2 followers, would not put their entire Twitter behind a paywall. Like, that, first of all, that's stupid. Second of all, why would I pay to see your tweets? what do you bring to the table? Not to be offensive or mean to that person, but you have to ask yourself, if I'm following them and they don't tweet that much at all, or the stuff they tweet is not interesting, why would I then continue to follow somebody who's making me pay to read one tweet every month? Like, that's dumb. So I think this feature, strictly speaking for furries, this feature will be good for the artists, and it will be good for those behind ADs. And only a few of those people who are fursuiters or who have just large followings in the fandom for whatever reason, it will be beneficial for them. But for the rest of us, not really. It really won't.
Yeah. And but I'm just saying, it would be good for the content creators, and it would be good for sex workers, especially those within the fandom. They can generate a little more revenue from Twitter, from every single ass, dick, and boob shot that they take.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that ass, dicks, and boob shots are free or cheap to make either.
Yeah.
But you have to deal with the public sentiment of super follows. When super follows was announced, there was a hashtag that was released called hashtag RIP Twitter. And if you search that, you will find a bunch of tweets voicing heavy disapproval on super follows. I mean, you just go down the list and you're just seeing people just angry about this. This one person says, I'll be unfollowing whoever as soon as I see them post one. Their biggest users will be moving to Weverse, it seems. At Jack, paying to retweet? Seriously? Is there anything not for sale? And it just goes on like this. And then people are looking at this saying, watch Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Google, and Snapchat all follow suit. That's the scary part. If this becomes successful, what do you think the competitors will do?
I mean, YouTube already does something like that, though.
They
In a
do.
sense.
They do.
Yeah.
Well, YouTube television that they keep on trying to pester me to get into, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No way. Like
even
I'm not here to watch YouTube TV. I'm just here to listen to Vaporwave and Doug DeMuro. That's it.
like even in like live chats, you can spend money.
Shout out to Regular Car Reviews too. They're a great website, and I mean they're a great video series. Oh, and also Sally the series.
Like even in what?
What?
What do you mean what?
You were just holding out there in an awkward pause, like you were. Just
I was waiting for you to finish.
Yeah, I was done.
I
don't watch a lot on Twitter. I mean, excuse me, I don't watch a lot on YouTube, so I'm just like.
I mean, you're talking to a guy who watches prank calls, soundboard prank calls on YouTube. I mean, you probably watch more than I do.
$4.99 a month for that.
I would, because I like them.
You
that much.
would.
And I've made them. I made my own, so yes, and I love them a lot. But no, I mean, YouTube even charges you to like during like live chats, you can spend money to like send like a shout on like a live chat. Like you can.
You mean the super chat or
yeah,
super chat?
like so like they've been doing that, but as far as Facebook, that's been talked about for years. They've just never done it because I think they found success with a revenue model and don't see the need to go any further with it. As far as Twitter is concerned, I mean, I don't know if ads are just enough. I don't think they are. They may have to go to a full subscription-based model sometime.
I think that will be the absolute death of Twitter. If Twitter goes full subscription, like everybody has to pay to read tweets, to send tweets, etc., you're going to see people drop Twitter like a rock.
Go where? But go where?
They don't need Twitter. They just don't need Twitter. They'll go back on Facebook. They'll go to Snapchat. They'll go to TikTok. There's number of. There'll be a new platform that will pop up just for them. Hell, they might just go to Parler. It doesn't matter. They don't need
Okay.
Twitter. Nobody needs Twitter.
Okay,
Nobody
that's
needs
a
Twitter.
lot to unpack. Okay, first off,
Well, I'm just saying.
there's no
Twitter
way
is not the only game in town.
it
Twitter is
kind
not
of
the only game in
is.
town. No, it isn't.
Compared to
bullshit?
Facebook?
For this bullshit, no.
Yes. Compared to Facebook, are you serious? You know who uses Facebook
And you know,
now?
and that's what I'm saying. Somebody will pop up in the spirit of competition. Somebody will pop up and say,
I hope
"Hey,
you're
we're
right.
free. We were just like Twitter, only we're free."
I mean, there's
And people will
Mastodon.
flock to that. Ew.
It exists, but
I know. But see, Mastodon in theory is a good thing. But what I don't like about Mastodon is that furries don't try to federate with anything. It's federated servers connected in a federated internet system. But furries don't try to federate. So basically, you're just shouting into a void. Everybody's just shouting into their own little void. I mean, I have high hope for federated systems actually, and I really do feel like it is going to be the future in some time. But right now, not many people know much about it, and everybody's still using the mainstream things like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, what have you. They're not flocking to federated systems anymore, or they're not flocking to federated systems yet. Mastodon is kind of like, you know, a very small fish in a very big pond, and you've got a lot of big fish in that very big pond.
I just can't
like
see
Twitter.
people going back to Facebook. I'm sorry. Facebook is for your grandma,
They're already
and your mom, and Russian bots. Nobody else uses Facebook.
There are people that are already there.
Have you seen the Facebook furries?
Not only that,
no.
Furry community has shown an interest in the past year of creating their own social media network.
Oh, that'll be drama 24/7.
Don't.
You know.
I mean, notwithstanding the fact that there's been attempts at this already, there's been attempts to replace Fur Affinity, and you know, look how those things have went. There's been attempts to be the game in town when it comes to furry social circles. I mean, look at Howler. That's actually pretty much the best success in the social media system when it comes to furry social media. yeah, Howler sucks. I actually deleted my account. I had too many people coming up to me and on Howler at 3 a.m. saying, "Oh, whoa, what's this? Ooh, nuzzles your crotch." I'm like, ew.
But I mean, I just can't see people, not even fandom. I just
Can you imagine paying $5 to shitpost? Can you imagine paying $5 for the privilege to shitpost?
There will be people to do that. I specifically think a lot of these large corporations and a lot of these journalism organizations will do that. Because what's good about Twitter is Twitter allows you to tweet out near instant communication of things that are going on right now. And you can connect with the masses. Let me
ask you this.
Uh-huh.
I know that that if this rolls out to the broad public on Twitter, I know that the journalists and the media are going to go all in on this. They're going to make sure that their Twitter feeds are subscription only, like New York Times, Washington Post, LA Times, Chicago Tribune, whatever. They will almost all be going to a subscription only feature on Twitter, so that just to read the tweets you have to pay a subscription, or it'll be bundled in with your subscription to the paper itself.
Well,
but let me ask this. Do you believe that it is right for a celebrity like Paris Hilton or DJ Khaled or Wiz Khalifa, whoever, you know, just pick any random celebrity and insert their name there. Do you believe it's prudent for them to charge their followers to follow them? Considering that how much money they make already, do you think it's prudent for their followers to be charged to follow them?
So doubling back real quick with the whole media stuff, I think when it comes to stuff like breaking news that's going on, I don't think we'll see that whole, hey, we're going to charge you to read that. But specific articles,
I think the newspapers will.
That would actually hurt them more than it would help them. Honestly, if they did that, I truly think. Because what has made Twitter so good is, again, the rapid discussion that can take place when something is breaking news, all of that. And like whatever you may feel about the past president, what made his movement and all that so powerful is he was able to express himself instantaneously about something. If you take that away from people, especially journalists, and you start charging for that, you defeat the whole purpose of Twitter, I think, especially for journalism.
I think this whole feature does defeat the purpose of Twitter. Twitter, we have to address the elephant in the room, first and foremost, and address the fact that right at this moment, at this very moment, Twitter is free for everyone to use. It's free for you and me to read the tweets. It's free for you and me to send the tweet. And not only that, how much does it actually cost to send one tweet? Like when you think about the cost, server costs, et cetera, and you break it down by users, what is the cost per user for one tweet to be sent? It's probably infinitesimal. It's probably like 0.0000. It's less than a penny. It's got to be less than a penny. The number of leading zeros after the decimal is just like. So it's almost like you can fart out more money than it is to actually calculate how much it costs to send one tweet. So at the same time, if you're charging $4.99 a month for every user to access your exclusive tweets through super follows, of course you think it's pure money, it's pure profit, but also Twitter has to take a cut. Twitter is taking a cut of that subscription fee that you are charging to your followers and giving you the rest. How much of that subscription fee are they cutting off? And how much do you get out of it? But also, going back to my question that I was asking, I don't think you answered if celebrity should.
Oh no, I was actually going to after I talked about the whole.
But I also want to go even further.
Get to that.
I also want to go further, and in addition, do you feel it prudent for a politician or a public figure to charge people to see their tweets?
I'll answer that right now. Okay. Absolutely not. No.
Yeah.
You are an elected official. You serve the interests of the people. You serve your constituents. You are not there to profit off of your tweets. And not to get political, that will just exacerbate the issues with politics right now. If you allow these people who are politicians to get paid to tweet, because all they'll be doing is tweeting out the hottest takes just to tweet, to gain more followers. More followers equals more money. That's all they'll be doing. They shouldn't be on Twitter to begin with.
And that if they're allowed to charge to send tweets, or if they're allowed to super follow, that they're going to say the hottest takes to their super followers, because the media can't touch what they can't see. So they have to have a subscription to this politician, that politician over there, blah, blah, blah. All of these politicians, just to keep a scoop on them and figure out who's being honest. That's the thing. Transparency goes out the window with this shit. Just out the window. They can say whatever they want on Twitter when it's just the paid followers that are watching, not the the entire peanut gallery. And I'll say this as well. That's going to trickle down. That entire ethical issue that I've been trying to lead into is going to trickle down in the furry community, to the thousands or so followers. They're going to be posting things that you wouldn't normally see on their Twitter feed. Even now, they're going to be posting it for their super followers that will get it. And so you're going to see fewer call outs. You're going to see fewer cancellations. Cancel culture is going to dry up a little bit because you can't follow every single furry poppy fur. You can't follow them all. You can't. Nobody wants to spend $4.99 a month to follow every single one of these furries that decides, "Ooh, I'm going to start charging for my top quality tweets." And so what we're seeing is a lack of transparency with people, especially when it comes to public forums like Twitter. And I also want to point out another thing. So you said that it's leading up. This is leading up to Twitter charging a subscription service and weeding out the bad people from Twitter. I don't honestly think that will even happen. I don't think that's that purpose. I don't even think that purpose is in the stack of cards as to why Twitter is doing this at all.
So why do you think that?
Well, because it doesn't weed out anybody. Honestly, if you have a Twitter following and you decide, oh, I want to turn on super follows for these tweets, and nothing stops them. Nothing. And here's my take. Twitter for the past few years has been wanting to, without saying publicly, they've been wanting to be a publisher, not a platform, but a publisher. And I think we talked about the difference between a publisher and a platform in one of our past episodes, and how the law treats a publisher compared to a platform, especially when it comes to Section 230. So I don't know why Twitter would be trying so hard to be a publisher, but given what people have been saying, yes, there's that reason. But at the same time, the law as it stands right now does not treat publishers very kindly compared to platforms. So why they would want to be a publisher where they can edit and remove content at will is beyond me. But,
So when I said that, what I meant was not super followers. So super follows would not enable them to clean up the website. That just, makes it so you can see exclusive tweets from people. If they go to a paid subscription model where you have to pay to tweet, that will weed out a ton of people, because I can bet you all the people who sit on there trying to give the most craziest takes and start stuff and say the most disgusting things on Twitter would not pay to do so. And my reasoning for that, why Twitter would want that, has to go back to the predicament that Twitter, Facebook, Google, Apple, and all these companies find themselves right now. And with both the Trump administration and the Biden administration on their heels, chomping at the bits to rein big tech in. And as I explained to you, what better way to keep daddy government from splitting Twitter up than by cleaning the bad people up in the process? How do you do that?
My argument, though, is, and I hear what you're saying, but my argument is A 100% subscription only model for Twitter would not only be unnecessary, but it would drive out almost everyone off the platform. Nobody wants to pay to read these tweets. Nobody wants to pay to send these tweets. Again, the cost to tweet is infinitesimally small. There is no sense in it. There's no sense for anybody to actually put money down to actually use this service. There's no benefit. There's no cost benefit to this service at all to the general public. It's just there for people to communicate and socialize. They don't need this shit. They don't need this shit. They can go to any number of other sites. They can go to any number of other platforms. They can create their own platform if they so desire and if they're so inclined to do so. And they will bring all the people in that wanted just Twitter for free. And it will be free because that is the one thing that Twitter doesn't have at that point. Twitter decided to issue their entire model that is, as of now, free to use, and decided, you know what, fuck it, we're going to charge everybody. And watch as everybody just flocks off the platform and never comes back, and their stock price just tanks because nobody wants to pay for your damn tweets.
So to that, I would say I would bring up Fur Affinity in this case. So in the case of Fur Affinity, what it has going for it is the only game in town, despite there being a plethora of competitors.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter, despite what I know what you're saying, Twitter is, for what it offers, it is really the only game in town. Facebook cannot compare. In its current state, Facebook cannot compare to it. Neither can Snapchat. Neither can Tumblr, whatever Tumblr is, neither can Tumblr. Neither can Parler or any other social media app. Neither can Tumblr. Any of those cannot compare to what Twitter has going on. They are arrogant. Jack is arrogant enough to think that if I can get away with super follows, I can also get away with charging, because he probably realizes where are these people going to go, because they can't go to Facebook and replicate the same stuff that they do on Twitter. Same with Parler, same with Snapchat, same with TikTok. They cannot replicate it. And there is no other game in town. So he has the ability to be arrogant and do whatever the fuck he wants, because he knows, despite all these people saying, well, I'm not going to sit here and pay to use Twitter, a good portion of them will. Because they want that satisfaction that they get from Twitter. Because they won't get it from Facebook, I'm telling you. They won't. And Parler, I mean, good luck trying to infiltrate Parler. And
imagine paying $4.99 per month just to have your e-peen just stroked.
Some people will do that, though, and it's crazy.
$4.99 for digital fluffing, I swear.
But again,
the shit people pay for in 2021.
But again, we see this with people paying money for porn. It works. Porn,
but
like, you can get that shit for free, and people will do it for the most vanilla porn ever. So of course they pay money to use Twitter.
But that's the thing, is that porn is still charging people, and the porn industry still makes money hand over fist. It doesn't make as much money as it did before, where, you know, the internet wasn't a thing and people had to pay for porn. Otherwise, you know, what else were they going to do? Where they're just going to just stroke themselves off or jack off and, you know, just thinking about somebody, you know? Yeah. Back then when Playboy, Hustler, you know, those magazines, they were the only kids in town.
Your parents probably used to get, and this is everybody's parents, y'all parents probably used to get the National Geographic magazine and look up
they would look up the natives. Jack off to the natives. How racist is that?
That's very racist, but people did that because they didn't have porn back then. Or if you're my generation, you tried to use your parents' credit card and get Girls Gone Wild one night because you saw it on TV.
Imagine back then, you were making a choice. Should I pay $7.99 for Playboy or $3.99 for National Geographic? They feature the ladies of Namibia. Oh boy, choices. And your dick is down there just hard as a rock saying, come on, buy something already. I swear, people.
But that happened though. Porn used to be like that. Like
I
video
know porn
stores.
used to be
You
like
used
that,
to
but
go into the back and you'd see all like the naked titty films. Like they were back there. Like porn used to be that way. Not so
yeah,
much
and you
anymore.
remember
That shit's free.
back in the 70s and the 80s, they had peep shows for a quarter. You'd
Yeah.
give it, you put a quarter in, you'd look in the little window, and you'd see boobs for like 5 seconds, and done.
Yeah. All in Times Square too, before
I know.
that got cleaned up.
Yeah. That did get cleaned up. I forget by whom. But my point is that when the internet came by, it became a lot easier to send, receive, share, and look up free porn. And then you started seeing the decline of porn revenue. And that's what I'm saying. The porn industry isn't as prolific today as it was before. Mostly also, you know why? Because people have become their own sole proprietors when it comes to producing porn. They produce porn on their own. They don't need a studio. They don't need high paid actors. They don't need a director. They are all of that and then some. And they bring all the revenue back to themselves. So that's another hit on the porn industry because everybody's making porn on their own. And people are they're giving them out to people that know that they want them for an undercut price than what the porn industry charges. So that's another cut on the porn industry revenue. But what I'm saying is that necessity is the mother of invention. And if Twitter decides to go to a paid subscription model just for tweeting, never mind people posting nudes for $4.99 a month, or New York Times deciding to put their webs or their feed behind a paywall. If people want a free alternative to Twitter and they suddenly don't have it, they'll start looking for one. And once that one pops up, they will flock to it. That will be the new game in town. And Twitter will go the way of MySpace because they got a little too greedy.
I would be interested to see what that alternative is. Maybe it's not here right now and it will be invented.
It's probably not here. It's probably not here. But I'm saying necessity is the mother of invention. And one thing that is certain is that if Twitter decides to go 100% into a paid model or a paid tweet model, whatever, there will be a necessity for a free Twitter alternative. There will be an overwhelming call for a free Twitter alternative then, because as you've seen, Twitter has gone 100% pay to tweet. There is no free Twitter anymore. So in the market opens up a window for free Twitter platform. And not only that, as we've moved along in the technological sphere regarding social media, we've been moving more and more towards short form media, short form social media. And Twitter has definitely been like a pioneer in that regard with, how we tweet. TikTok, Vine, all of these other social media sites, past and present, have kind of slowly gone towards that model. One way or another, they've been, going towards that model. So I'm saying that if Twitter wants to charge to tweet, there will be an opening for a short form microblogging platform that's free. There, because Twitter is no longer free. And again, necessity is the mother of invention. Now, if it's optional, like what they're implying it's going to be, then you're going to see the people with After Dark accounts cashing in. So all these After Dark accounts, they will go to a paid model, except one. I know one that will stay free. And I don't think you want to hear me say that on this podcast. You don't want me to say that account.
It's a person's account.
Yeah, it's a person's account, but I've heard stories about this person. I'm just saying that.
Are they a public official?
No.
Are they a furry?
They're a furry. And I've heard stories.
Do they
And
have?
they do have an AD.
Do they? Is it who I think it is?
I don't know. I don't know. Who do you think it is? Go ahead, send it to me on Telegram because I'm curious.
Okay.
Just give me a minute. No, he will definitely charge.
Really?
He will definitely. Yes, absolutely. I mean, he's gonna. No, this person will definitely have like a mix of paid content and not so paid content. So you're gonna see if super follows rolls out, he's gonna have a super follow. No.
Okay.
No. He has a very large following, and I applaud him for that because his work is amazing. But
honestly,
no.
if there was a furry who could get away with that, it would be him. It would be that person. It would be him. Honestly,
I hear you. I hear you. But I think
Sonic Fox would be the other one as well.
I think he has a Patreon though, so he's probably making good money on Patreon, and I don't know if he'd actually want to see.
He doesn't strike me as the kind of guy.
So let's rewind a bit. Let's rewind a little bit and just rewind because I mentioned before that we have to address the big elephant in the room, and that elephant is that as of this moment, the content you see on Twitter is free. And now, when it comes to content that you used to just enjoy for free and take for granted for free, it leaves people with a very bad taste in their mouth when they have to pay to enjoy that very same content. And with this one artist that we're talking about on Telegram, I don't think that he'd want to do that. I don't think that he'd want to leave that nasty taste in their mouth when they've been enjoying his content and loving his content for years for free, and then suddenly he's charging for his content, and now all those thousands of followers that he's gained for free are suddenly looking in like a sellout, like you sold out to the dollar. You sold out, and they're not going to respect him. They're not going to respect him. They're not going to follow him. They're not going to super follow him when they used to enjoy his content for free. Again, that having to pay for something that you used to enjoy for free is not a good feeling. And people aren't going to just jump on board immediately. It's going to take time for the super follow thing, once it rolls out, for people to actually adjust to it and people actually paying for it. People actually, living with the fact that, yeah, I've got to pay for this content now. I mean, a lot of this content that could be behind a paywall, we have to address the fact that it is free. As of right now, it is free. How do you feel about paying for that content that you are now enjoying for free? Not many people are going to be impressed. And while it is kind of a good idea for the content creators to actually get paid a living wage for their work, you're also like opening a Pandora's box here, because we've been enjoying your work for free. Why are we paying for it all of a sudden? Especially since we've been enjoying it for free and we've been gaining you the follower count that you now enjoy because we were able to enjoy your content for free. You got a follow from us because of that. And now you want our money. There's an issue there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it overall, I think with how much of a backlash that Twitter has experienced with this announcement of super follows, I like you said, Jack Dorsey is a very arrogant man. He might still say, well, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck the peanut gallery. I don't give a damn. We need money, whatever. And he might still roll out with it, whatever. But it's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. People are going to leave the platform. People are going to start fights on Twitter over, having to pay for content that they used to enjoy for free. And it's really going to create more messes than we anticipate, honestly. And while it's good for the people that are creating content that feel like they should be paid to continue to create such content, at the same time, I'm skeptical about the benefits. Who does it benefit? Why does it benefit them? And how long will it benefit them? You have any closing thoughts?
I think that if Jack's smart, he reads the room, and super follows isn't a thing. But if it does have to be a thing, then expect to see a lot of ADs and furry artists take advantage of it.
You know what I would pay $4.99 a month for?
What?
I would pay $4.99 a month for Jack Dorsey to go back to Burma and practice Vipassana until we stop paying him $4.99 a month. So that we never have to hear from Jack ever again. And of course, he will go mentally insane from not being able to say anything. I would pay to see that. I would pay to see Jack Dorsey.
You would pay to see that.
I would pay to see Jack Dorsey lose his fucking mind. Like how long did he go for Burma in that trip? Like for a month? He went to Burma for a month for Vipassana? And then when he came, he came, and then he came back. He said that was just like the most intense thing he ever experienced. And then the first thing after Vipassana, the first thing he did is just whip out Kendrick Lamar's "Damn" album. A great album, by the way, great album. I am not dissing on Kendrick Lamar, and I'm not dissing on the album "Damn." But at the same time, I would pay to just not hear from him ever again. Because every time I hear from him, I'm just like, I'm shaking my head and like, who made you the king of Twitter? Please, who did this? Who gave you this right and responsibility?
The board of Twitter.
Yeah, and I think they made a terrible mistake. But anyway, we are close to time, and we had a really great conversation. Actually,
Yes, we did.
Yeah, that was a great episode, and we hope that this was a great episode for you too. If not, please leave a nasty comment to at Silox on Twitter. Sorry, Silex. You have to be
it's okay.
Yeah, you have to be human resources for us.
I don't mind.
Well, we did have Diane. What happened to Diane? Wasn't she like screening our calls and screening our calls, screening our emails, screening all of our PMs and taking us back to her office?
Diane took a nicer paying job in Rochester, New York. So,
oh, wonderful. So we have no human resources.
We have no human resources at the moment.
Hey, if anybody wants to work for Furry Frequencies, we have an opening. Just come by to Seagert, Maryland for an interview.
Yeah, I can't pay you, but we'll get
experience. We'll pay you once Silex's Super Follows account comes live. We'll start paying him for his feet content.
I'm sure people will pay money to see all those.
Yeah, people will pay to see your feet. People will say, excuse me, I'm losing my mouth. People will pay to see your feet.
I hope so. It's a lot of money.
But anyway, we do continue the conversation on Twitter at Furry Frequency. If you like what you hear, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to our video channel on YouTube. And also, please feel free to like, retweet, and send us a comment on Twitter about it. We love to read comments and hear from you. And feel free to join us next week for another exciting episode of Furry Frequencies. And with that said, it's time to sign off. This has been Furry Frequencies with Lifty
and Psylocke.
Thank you for joining us this week, and we hope to see you next week, and you have a great night.